Ah, here we have Harambe the Redfoot Tortoise. Read more about him on my Arctic Reptile Ranch blog to see how he got his name. Nothing says happy like a tortoise slowly munching on a plate full of fresh greens. It takes a lot of work to get all of these veggies, and depending on which species, some fruits to all of my tortoises. Let's have a look at how I prepare tortoise meals on the days that they get fresh produce. That way, these baby leopard tortoises can grow into the much larger, solid chelonians that they are destined to become. All of my tortoises get a base diet of varied greens. The day I recorded this, I was using a commercially available spring mix as their primary food. Once I have the food laid out, I'll give them supplements. I'm adding calcium with vitamin D3 already mixed into it. They all get sprinkles, and the tortoises really don't seem to mind. In addition to the calcium, I'll give them a multivitamin designed specially for reptiles as well. Again, the flavor must be just what they like because nobody turns their nose up at these plates. Even though the spring mix is already in basically bite-sized pieces, for my baby tortoises, I'll shred those pieces down to much smaller bits. I have bought various types of scissors and tools, but I find the best tools are just my fingertips. And just like the adult tortoises, these guys get calcium and vitamin supplements. As I mentioned earlier, some tortoises get fruits. My redfoot tortoises love strawberries, so I'll chop up a couple and give it to them. In addition to strawberries, all of the tortoise love squash. Here, I'm chopping up strings of squash to give to all the tortoises. And of course, for the babies, I'm chopping up in extra small pieces. Not only is it high in calcium, but squash is also a little bit rougher and harder to chew through than some of the greens they eat, which is very important to help wear down their beaks. So I'll put it into smaller pieces for the babies, but still big enough that they'll have to chomp through it and really wear at their beaks. Once I've got everything chopped up the way I like it, I'll make sure I add calcium to the top layers of food that I've put on since the base layer of greens. And there we have it. 6 plates of food for 5 enclosures full of hungry tortoises. This is my smaller redfoot tortoise. He's picking through and choosing which pieces he wants to eat first. You can see he loves strawberries. The squash is a pretty close second. Next up, my female star tortoise. As you can see, there's no strawberries on her plate because her body really isn't designed to process all the sugars that are in strawberries. So while I might give her fruits every so often, maybe once a month as a treat, for the most part, she primarily gets greens and the grass that she's eating behind her. The next group of diners are my hatchling leopard tortoises. Just like my star tortoise, you can see these guys also don't have fruit. Because like the star tortoise, these are a grassland species. They're not used to getting all of that high sugar type fruits. Maybe once in a while it'll fall off of a tree in nature and they'll eat it, but for the most part, these guys eat grasses and greens. Which, as you can see in this cage, there's no grass left. These guys have stripped all the grass bare down to the dirt. A continuous source of amusement that any tortoise keeper can attest to is the way that tortoises crowd a food dish. Even when there is a completely full dish, with no one else in it, just a few inches away. Our final diner in this video is Pithe, the pancake tortoise. While he'll eventually get around to eating all of the squash, he prefers greens. He also likes grass. Just like the leopard tortoise cage, a few weeks before I recorded this, that cage was covered in grass. But that's why I plant it, so they can eat it whenever they want to. Thank you for stopping by to watch how I prepare fresh produce for all of my tortoises. In a future video, I will show you how I fix their plates on days they eat commercially available tortoise diets like what you are seeing on my shelves here. Until then, like my video and subscribe to my channel to see my critters and how I take care of them.